This is Jonathan Agger, fifth pro boxing fans, joined by Sonny Edwards, who is a commentator, manager, former world champion, pundit, and now promoter. This Saturday night in Gibraltar, I've missed something. What have I missed?
Spit bucket boy. Don't forget that. It's actually the role that I'm most proud of.
Yeah, well, you said it. I think it's probably downplaying your role in the corner, but yeah, look, you've got the Gibraltar top on. That's where this show's happening on Saturday night. Full Monty Promotions. Yeah, tell us a bit about why you decided this was the time to get into promoting.
Um, it's always been sort of in my overall long-term vision, I guess. I've spent my whole life doing boxing really, and I'll probably spend the rest of it doing it. So, I'm probably going to try everything at one point. You might see me as a ring card girl in the future. Um, I don't think that would go down well, though, would it? Really. Um, But in all seriousness, it's always been sort of my vision to be a part of events. I think if they're done right and they're done well, and geographically the right location, the right fighters, etc. I think if done right, it can be something that probably outweighs all the other avenues of boxing in terms of landscape. But look what your Frank Warrens, your Eddie Hearns, your Al Haymans, and obviously that's not me saying, oh yeah, move out the way I'm coming through. Not by no stretch of the imagination. They're exceptional promoters, very very good, organized teams, long-standing success and rolling with the punches that boxing is consistently throwing out. So. I think it more just got to the point and became more of a more immediate focus. Getting to the point where I don't want to keep having to ask promoters for favors, really. And sometimes you're kind of in that position, they've got the show, you kind of need something for your fighter, and you're going out with your hands out. And don't get me wrong, it's usually when you have a fighter that makes perfect sense, it's usually quite seamless, but that's not always the case. And um, we had very very good meetings, and since the brothers, I met them when they first had their professional debut in Gibraltar, in the same venue that we're going to on Saturday night, the Europa Point. And I was very very impressed. And since then they've had their UK debuts. They fought in Derby, they fought in Spain a couple of times down the coastline in Marbella. And it's been getting more of a looming pressure that we need now to fight back in Gib. We don't want to spend too long away from where they're, really, really, really popular lads. And we had some really big promoters fly over, have meetings with the chief minister, etc. And it was getting to sort of the same point that we'd be sort of responsible for the finance, the finding the sponsors, etc. And our reaction was kind of the same. Well, if we're the ones putting the money in, technically it should probably be our show. I don't know why we'd give it to someone else when we kind of had by this time, this period of fighting in Derby, fighting in Spain a couple of times, coming over to the UK, visiting shows, training. Like Chris Montegriffo is now training with Grant. Evans working with Pierce Goodjohn as well. He'll be helping in this corner, as well as their original coach, Carl Romina. And yeah, we just pulled the trigger on doing it ourselves, and we're very, very excited that we've got a great team, and the passion and the energy of the boy's father, who's really sort of spearheading the promotional side of things. And yeah, we're really confident, really, really confident, but as well, very, very open and understanding that we are learning on the job, and we've had a lot of things thrown at us over the last 2 3 weeks that none of us had probably any real experience of dealing with, except it being familiar. And you're trying to put on a boxing event, and you need to tick these boxes for it to make happen. And had nightmares with certain other things, but we've got to the conclusion that worked for everyone. And we've had to jump through maybe more hoops than what promotional companies typically do, you know, and we've done it. The fighters are arriving now, and you know, we're doing the weigh-in day, a little media after the weigh-in, and then straight into fight night. So yeah, we're straight to business really, and we're looking forward to it.
So talk to us about some of the guys you got on the card. You obviously know some of them very well. Who should people watch out for?
Well, let me just start with my three fighters on the card. Obviously, you've got the sort of the you know the main aspect of the show, let's say, is definitely the two Montegriffo brothers, Evan and Chris, who I previously mentioned. Chris started off at heavyweight, fought at cruiserweight last time, and is now slowly making his way down to light heavyweight, maybe even lighter than that. Now he's teamed up with Grant. You've got Evan Montegriffo as well, who's come from a really, really, really dark place after the loss of his mother, and you know, depression, put on a hell of a lot of weight, and was up to, I believe, about 120, 130 kilograms. And now he's down ripped to shreds at 72 and a half, fighting at middleweight, and probably going to drop a little bit more as well to sort of fill into his real ideal weight. But yeah, them two put on a hell of a show, have a great support. Both have different styles, and yeah, are going to be the sort of main focus on the show. You've also got Chris Malunda, who boxed recently on a Matchroom show, had a good performance. He's yeah, really, really coming through nicely. He's 3-0, looking to go 4-0, keeping nice and busy with his professional career. Only turned pro maybe 7, 8 months ago, and yeah, it's his first away day. A very good technical fighter, good boxer, sharp hands, and he's up against it with at least a well-experienced fighter in Yo Julio. Sorry. Beat Ishay Smith back in the day, Cornelius Bunderage, has had various other fights, challenged for world titles, and yeah, obviously now he's at a different stage of his career where he's on the away side, and he's more of like a sort of road warrior now, but very, very tough, and will be coming to have a go. There's some good, definite good matchups on, and we've also got Tariq Zain, who's another Gibraltar based Moroccan heritage, and he was the stand-in fighter for Regis Prograis and Conor Benn when that fight happened. If anything happened, he would have been the one that would have been in the ring against Conor Benn, because you know there was a lot of the speculation that Regis was potentially injured or whatever, and yeah, a great fighter to have on the card. And then we've also got Cathal Crowley, Irish light heavyweight, trained by Pascal Collins, coming over to fight, a good operator, and potentially looking to maybe even look at a fight with him and Chris Montegriffo maybe in the future when he does get down to light heavyweight. You know, we're trying to actually start like building something where the fans here are sort of understanding what's going on in the fights that are going on around them. And yeah, this is the sort of first showcase. Also, Jordan Sheriff as well, brother of Joe Sheriff, who you know, was a decent pro a few years ago, and yeah, really looking forward to having it. The fighters, Dalton Smith's coming out, Liam Cameron, Janae Boston, a few others coming to support. Obviously, Grant Smith will be in Chris Montegriffo corner, so it's, you know, very familiar to me and all the people that sort of I've worked with a long time. Tariq Zain, also trained by Ishmael Davies as coach, Keith Walton, so good to be working with him on another card. And yeah, I think everyone's put the effort in, and we're looking to go. I know it's getting to a point where I'm sort of half spiraling, but a lot of interviews in one day, and yeah, really, really looking forward to Saturday night.
Have you, excuse me, have you got a broadcaster for the fights, or is that still being worked on?
So we had a few actually very exciting conversations and different opportunities, but we was really, really restricted with one location and two time restraints. We really pulled the trigger ourselves to make this show happen in just probably over 3 weeks, around 3 weeks. But we were set up in certain things, like the venue was already blocked off for the show, etc., and sort of some foundation had been set. We had 3 weeks really to get everything together, and we're still in conversations now regarding the future of the promotions and broadcasting and what network, etc. But yeah, with time restraints and also it being our first show, a decision was made internally where we decided it'd probably best not trying to bite off too much more than we can chew. We're trying a sort of different look at a boxing show, free fights, an interval, music, speak to the crowd, introduce them to the fighters, etc. Then straight back into the second half of the show, everyone will be the main event of the first half of the show, and then Chris Malunda, Tariq Zayn, and then Chris Montegriffo as the main event of the show. So we're trying to maybe like a sort of keeping it fresh, not having too many fights, keeping a nice vibe. Having some kids opening up the show, doing like a little showcase of the next generation of talent from Gibraltar, and getting them pictures with the world champion Dalton Smith, etc. So just really trying to push out the message that as much as everything we're doing right now in the territory of Gibraltar is around the brothers and Evan and Chris and Tariq Zayn, it's also really about setting up for the future where, the 9-10-year-olds right now that are going 2, 3, 4 times a week to the Montegriffo Brothers Gym, WBC, Wellington Boxing Club, going down there, training and looking up to the brothers that, their journeys are starting off now, that, in the 5, 10, 15 years, these will be the lads that are representing Gibraltar, the recently set up national boxing team that the brothers and the family also involved in. It's really for the future generations and creating the champions now for the future, and really trying to establish a good boxing setup in Gibraltar, because it's really been probably starved of it for the most part. They have a sort of setup of organisation, but the fighters, they don't get much fights. They haven't been involved much internationally boxing, but we're really trying to change the landscape of boxing in Gibraltar across the board, and the brothers have really got the energy for it. Like I said, they're the boxers, they're the coaches in the gym, they own the gym, and now they're promoting the show. And it's really good to see that passion and sort of be involved in a project that not only hopefully is a financial success and a business boxing success as you want it to be anytime you put your effort in towards anything, but really is a passion project of delivering fighters in a location that are kind of starved of the opportunities that perhaps their talent deserves. So and it's a nice place to come for a long weekend a few times every month.
Nice. Hopefully, it goes from strength to strength. Good luck with the first show. Sonny, I just want to ask you a couple of other things. Giorgio Visioli, I see him going back and forth on Twitter with, Curmel. I spoke to Scooter Davis. He's up for the fight at some point in the future. What's the latest with that Curmel fight? And, could we actually see that this year or next?
But it's kind of frustrating, really, because we have a team, Eddie and Giorgio's manager, Giorgio, Mark. They're all very, very, very open-minded and kind of excited, really, to see where that conversation perhaps would look like right now. And it just seems from our side that, Moton and his team have absolute no desire to even explore the conversations, you know what I mean? And he talks a lot, and every time Giorgio fights, he'll tweet, and he knew Giorgio was training at the gym, so he'd turn up with like a little posse of them and organise sparring in the gym that Giorgio has been training at when he's been over there, and when he doesn't typically train there. So, I don't know, it's like he wants to do the splash noise like he does, beating up novices in sparring over and over and over and over again. But he's got full HD, 4K, same camera footage of this whole spar with Giorgio, the whole 2 spars. Even better footage than we've got. We've got a phone thingy. They've got a proper camera out on it. You can see from the side of the ring. And with that footage has never seen the light of day, and it'd probably be his most viewed, most watched, most anticipated spar that he's ever had, and he won't release the footage. You know what I mean? And we're happy for it to be done on this platform, because Giorgio hasn't made his career out of releasing footage, and it's just making this sort of mystery and pressure on Curmel. But At the same time, Giorgio has taken to professional boxing like a duck to water in terms of in the ring, definitely in preparation, definitely in branding and marketing himself and quietly putting himself out there and sort of then being involved in arguably one of the best prospect America, UK, both look phenomenal fighters. No one's questioning that on our side about Curmel. We just know Giorgio is that level above and that step above and has the lifestyle and has the discipline to really take the shot earlier. And I think that that's what they're reluctant to do. I think they know that Curmel probably has a lot of potential, but anyone that knows boxing probably see how he's like living and operating around the sport, probably thinking he's got a way of maturing to go before he's in the sort of fire. Otherwise, they're going to lose a lot of marketability on him and potential earnings for the whole team around him. And yeah, we're ready to see the offer. When we thought Pacquiao and Mayweather was fighting again, we was very, very interested in potentially have that as, make that chief support, your Carmel. It's a massive fight for the show. It's two of the next generation that are looking at the next generation. It almost seemed like a perfect entree to the event. And no conversation. Obviously, that event probably weren't ever happening, so that may be why the conversation didn't go further. But at the same time, ready and open-minded for absolutely anything. But Giorgio's got his trajectory and where he's aiming and his dates. So unless a conversation comes that entices him outside of that, then he doesn't need one part of Curmel. He doesn't need him. He'll be challenging for the British title before the end of the year is up, I believe, and then looking to defend that and then start pushing on with his world rankings, international titles, Commonwealth titles, European titles. We don't need to skip no levels of Giorgio. We don't need to win that fight or in a good position. Let's try and cash out because Giorgio is so talented that he'll go through and beat all the levels in between. So he needs the experience, he needs the camps, he needs the maturity, he needs the age to sort of get to the point where he's at his physical peak, and then he'll be ready to beat absolutely anyone in the world. You see him say it the other day, give me 2 years and I'll beat any lightweight in the world. And I'm inclined to believe him. What he's shown me every time he steps foot in the ring, he solves problems very well. Obviously, as the levels go up, you'll see moments where he's getting caught, moments when he's getting caught out of position, but they're never long-lived, and he switches on and adapts excellently well. He's just, he's still growing, he's still developing, he's still maturing as a person, as an athlete. And he won't be rushed, but he's got to the point now where the levels are here, and he's got to start going through them because the demand's there, not from just the fans or his promoter or from him. He's desperately ready to start pushing on and being involved in these fights that people actually care about his opponent properly. Not like, oh, that's a good fight. That's a good little step up. No, like, oh, okay, that's a fight. That's what Giorgio wants. That's what he's been asking for.
Sonny, yeah, I was just going to ask you the talk about Fury and Joshua being at 2 a.m. If it's to be in the UK, what's your thoughts on that?
I think logistically, I don't know if the mayor of London and anyone else is going to let it happen. I just can't imagine, pretty much close to 100,000 people walking through London and trying to get out of a very built-up area. I think it'll be a logistical nightmare, and I think emergency services will be very stretched if they do that at that time of night on a Saturday night. Now, if they can throw enough money out to make it happen, then if that's the condition on it happening, then that's the condition on it happening. I would rather it be at a normal time, but what I would rather isn't considered in this. So, people that are paying the bills and putting all the millions in, and the fighters, and I guess the mayor and whoever else would be involved in like a political level to let that happen, because I know there's crazy restrictions now, especially in London, about what can actually happen at what times, and events, permits, licenses, curfews, etc. And they're usually quite strict at like 11 o'clock curfews, 11, half 11 maybe. They're usually very, very strict where, the promoters are getting fined by the minute that it goes over the curfew, etc. So, yeah, I'm not sure how logistically likely that is, and if any one UK side would be willing to bend on it.
Do you think Eddie said today to IFL that the viewership on Netflix think that the viewership will be the exact same, even if it's that late in the UK? Do you think they would lose a lot of viewers if they do it that late? Do you think people still turn out?
They'd probably lose like a larger percent of UK viewers for the time, but they'd probably gain an overall smaller percent of US viewers. But at the same time, with the size of US, that would probably lead to maybe around the same or more viewers. So I don't know. Like, if it's such a big pressing matter for them, you'd think they technically have a better insight. So it would probably be more viewed worldwide at the time that America does sporting events. But I don't know because it's not my area of expertise. But yeah, I do think that, especially for the UK, it would definitely lose, a big percentile of people that aren't willing to stay up or try and don't make it. So I mean,
And what's your view on Fury fighting Mariusz Wach? Obviously, like a lot of people have said, why is he fighting this guy? But I guess he wants some kind of warm up before the Joshua fight. What's your thoughts on it?
yeah, I do think, very confidently that Tyson Fury will beat Mariusz Wach. I think I don't think there's too many people sort of debating that I'm seeing anyway. And if he wants a warm up fight, then plenty of other fighters had one. But in the heavyweight division, there's always a chance that one shot lands and completely upset the plans. But I would be more worried about the Prenger fight just only because I've not really seen him fight. I don't really know all too much about him. I know he's unbeaten. Is he unbeaten?
I think he's lost once between.
One. Yeah. I wasn't sure if he was unbeaten, lost one. But he's got a few knockouts. He's a heavyweight, but what level? Not really a high one as he boxed at. So you'd expect Daniel to come through that, but at the same time, you're giving a clearly at least somewhat capable heavyweight fighter an opportunity at completely changing their life. And AJ, you got to think would be going in there a little bit of the mindset that I'm going to get through him. So then mindsets can be dangerous and change a lot in the ring. But yeah, I hope they both come through without a scratch, no injuries, no cuts, and we can get the fight we've all been waiting, for the best part of a decade. We can get it, mate.
Mm. Cool. Sonny, appreciate your time. Good luck with your show in Gibraltar this Saturday. Full Monty Promotions. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully more to come. And yeah, best of luck, mate.
Thank you for your time.